An Osprey from the 20th Special Operations Squadron came in for a landing at the National Museum of the United States Air Force to commemorate the opening of a new exhibit.
Come on, Special Ops!
As the plane of the unit called the Green Hornets approached, Fred Cook's enthusiasm was apparent.
Bring it on in! Bring it on in!
Randy Harrison was just as excited to see the CV-22 up close and personal.
Heck of a machine you got here, guys.
Oh, this is incredible.
While it was the first time the men had been on an Osprey, it wasn't their first foray into special operations.
Times on Hueys, but I do have some H3 time.
Yeah.
And a little bit of 53, but I don't brag about it.
You see, this commemorative flight is for an exhibit depicting Cook, Harrison, and members of the Green Hornets nearly 50 years ago. For years, the tales of special operations in the Southeast Asia War was only known to a select few.
What we're trying to do, now that we can tell these stories, it's all been declassified, is to make certain that people understand that there was more than just the B-52s flying over and dropping bombs.
On November 26, 1968, Fred Cook's UH-1 Huey, flown by First Lieutenant James Fleming, had inserted Special Forces Reconnaissance Team Chisel near Duc Co, Republic of Vietnam. Almost immediately, the six-man Special Forces team became pinned down by a much larger enemy force and called for extraction. Fleming's crew was unable to recover the Special Forces team on an initial pass due to intense enemy gunfire. With no safe landing spot, Fleming came in again and hovered the helicopter just above a river, nudged up to the riverbank. Fred Cook was one of the helicopter's door gunners, keeping the enemy at bay while the reconnaissance team made its way to the Huey. The Special Forces team leader, Randy Harrison, was last to board the helicopter. Fred Cook, still firing on the enemy with his M60 machine gun in one hand, pulled Harrison aboard with the other. It's this moment in time that's captured in the new exhibit and why current members of the 20th SOS made a special trip.
I feel very privileged and personally honored to be here, but I can tell you on behalf of the men and women of the 20th SOS, I couldn't think of a better way to share our appreciation for the legacy of the men that came before us and helped build what is now Special Operations.
A legacy built over 5 decades. A legacy built by operators as enthusiastic today as they were in 1968.
I was usually going out the door at 800 feet, so that get the chance to actually talk to crews that have taken it operational and taken it into the sandbox is a real amazing opportunity.
For these men, the exhibit is more than grass and paint, more than plexiglass and uniforms.
This is personal. So these guys are personal. So make it very emotional to see this.
If it hadn't been for them, nothing else would have happened after that. And I've had a really good life, and I owe it to these guys.
A life come full circle, out of the reaches of death to a moment of shared reflection.
As long as I live, I will never be able to express my appreciation to you and your crew for giving me the rest of my life.
I don't know how to respond.
I love you, man.
History comes back and touches us. It is a wonderful feeling.
The exhibit is now part of the museum's permanent collection for more than 1 million annual visitors to see and learn from.
I'm proud to call this my museum, Air Force Museum, and that display, yes, I'm proud of that display, proud of the job they done.
From the National Museum of the United States Air Force, I'm John Harrington.